the Asbury Park Press, the Star Ledger, the Independent, and the Tuber Times, and posting at the Middletown Township Municipal Building in front of the Township Park on January 18, 2018. Minimum Fiore.
Here.
Minimum Perry.
Here.
Minimum Hyla.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Senator
Here.
Mayor Murray. Please rise for the pledge of
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for our troops defending our freedoms and constitutions and way of life. Thank you. Our first item on tonight's agenda, we have certificates of appreciation and proclamations. Our first item, we have a presentation to former New Jersey Senator Joseph M. Kyrillos. This time, I'd like to invite former Senator Kyrillos to please come forward.
So this evening, we want to take some time to properly honor our Senator Joe Kyrillos. And just a brief comment before we talk about the proclamation. And each one of the members of the Township Committee is going to contribute to this evening's proclamation. But just, I live in the River Plaza in Middletown. And I know, Joe, you started out in the River Plaza, right? A few mornings ago, I went over to now Senator Joseph M. Kyrillos, Rich, right? So I'm sure you do that enough. But it is.
I have in the past.
So now when you go over,
now it's special.
Now it's special. So with that, tonight's proclamation will present Senator Joe Kyrillos with the key to Middletown Township. That's not accurate. So we'll let you build.
Tony told me it didn't work at all.
So what I'd like to do this evening is take a few moments and read your accomplishments in the proclamation. I'd like to ask my colleagues on the governing body to say a few things, and then we'll come to you then. Right? So we have this evening a proclamation from the Office of the Mayor to Joseph M. Kyrillos, New Jersey State Senator. And it says, Joseph M. Kyrillos, longtime Middletown resident, began his legislative tenure in 1988 at the age of 27. Ever hear that? 27. Making him the second youngest person in since the 1947 Constitutional Convention. He served 4 years as a member of the New Jersey Assembly, followed by 26 years as a New Jersey Senator. And throughout his legislative career, Kyrillos has made a tremendous impact in the area of economic development. Sponsored legislation which created the Business Employment Incentive Program and was the prime co-sponsor of the Grow New Jersey bill, which is the state's current business incentive program. Kyrillos was also the driving force behind New Jersey's sports betting lawsuit, which resulted in a favorable U.S. Supreme Court ruling. And Kyrillos has been pivotal in dealing with education policy reform. He was the prime sponsor of a constitutional amendment in 1992 that would have guaranteed substantial state education aid to suburban New Jersey school districts, while ensuring that urban school districts were sufficiently funded. And in 2001, Kyrillos was elected New Jersey GOP chair. He was respected within the inner council of the administration by President George W. Bush and by other state GOP party chairs throughout the nation. And whereas New Jersey has been extremely fortunate to have such a formidable yet unselfish legislative leader, Kyrillos led the early fight for a clean ocean and beach legislation and pushed green acres and open space laws. There's another 3 pages of it. He also played a crucial bipartisan role,
Really well written.
such as the market-based auto insurance. So, the Middletown Township Committee wishes to honor and thank Senator Joe Kyrillos for decades of distinguished public service. And we appreciate his tireless efforts to help us rebuild in the aftermath of Superstorm Sandy. Loyalty, statemanship, and genuine compassion for the constituents of the state of New Jersey is unparalleled. So now the Township Committee does hereby proclaim Monday, June 18, 2018, as Senator Joe Kyrillos Day in Middletown.
Thank you so much.
Our township key is also going to be presented to our good friend and Senator Joseph Kyrillos. The township key is proudly presented to Honorable Joseph M. Kyrillos Jr., Senator, New Jersey State Senate, in grateful appreciation of your 30 years of public service, your dedication to Middletown Township, and your innumerable contributions to the citizens of New Jersey.
Thank you. Well, you have the big barrel of duties to read that.
Well, I'll just start off by saying this, that I had the unique fortune of serving as Senator Kyrillos' Chief of Staff for 3 years. Talk about fortune, at 24 years old, I guess I was when I first started working for him. Here's a guy who served not only Middletown, but Monmouth County, the state of New Jersey, and he takes somebody under his wing and treats him as an equal minute one of working for him. Always listening to my ideas, always listening to my opposition to think certain things that we would go back and forth about. But just after Senator Joe left the legislature, he and I went down to Stockton University, and Supreme Court Justice Gorsuch was down there, and he was doing a wonderful bipartisan talk with Bill Hughes Jr. and Neil Gorsuch. And it just so happens that they were high school roommates at Georgetown Prep in Washington, D.C. And one of the questions that was asked at the end of the program was, what advice would you give to the students of Stockton University? And Neil Gorsuch sat there and he thought about it and he said, be picky. Be picky and choose your first few bosses carefully. Because your bosses that you choose in the beginning of your career will define your ethical standards for the rest of your life. I couldn't have had a better ethical standard, a more just someone that gave everything for his community, and somebody that I can't believe I had 3 years of mentorship from. And Senator, this is just a great day for Middletown and for us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Senator, I don't have a lot of time with you, but when I served in the fire department, we needed some help. Joe was always there, and I appreciate that. And the plaques say it all. I mean, it's great to have you here, so I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Great honor. Very, very humbled to be here to receive this key to the town and to hear these wonderful words from four great gentlemen, and to be here with all of you. The town I grew up in. I did live in River Plaza, my first house that I bought, and Susan and I was here with me. Lived there when we were first married, but of course I started down the street at my parents' house on Kings Highway, and prior to that on Harmony Road, and so I moved all around the town. We lived down the Chapel Hill section. So this is a great honor. I've gotten to know each of these four gentlemen behind me. I have to know that you have to know that they're all great people. I remember when Kevin and Tony first came to town, and great, inspiring young people that wanted to be involved, and now, of course, they run the town. So, proud. And Tony Perry, of course, put our relationship in the right perspective. And I did serve for a lot of years, 30 years, but my last three, for a lot of reasons, were among the finest and most fulfilling, and part of it was the partnership and the friendship and the relationship that we had. We saw each other every day, sometimes 7 days of the week, and I couldn't be more proud of him now. I see him up there. I told him earlier, he looks different. He's got the prison suit now, the hand and the nameplate, and proud that he worked for me, and proud for me many years ago. I think we've stayed close for the 14 years since then, but we started out together, and Maureen and Tony and everybody here, we've all worked together. I've told this next story once or twice in life, not as often as I should have. But the Middletown person that really helped to launch me, and I wouldn't be able to stand here after 30 years of service in the legislature without him, is Peter Carton, who is our local Republican leader. And of course, this is a bipartisan night. I've always kind of served in a bipartisan, nonpartisan fashion as much as I could, given the realities of life, and served everybody and all the people all the same. But I was a Republican. Peter was the head of the Republican organization, and I knew him. Our families knew each other, and he took a chance on me and introduced me to some other people, and that gave me my start. It was a wonderful career. I loved every minute of it. I wanted to leave when it became more than half my lifetime being there. I started at 27, left at 57. It was frustrating to be in the minority party, and I probably might have tried to stay if you would have had me, had we been able to do more things. Kevin mentioned a constitutional amendment I tried to pass in my first years in the Senate. Had we been able to do it, equalize school funding a little bit better, not equalize it, but just make it a little bit more fair, a little fairer, you know, we'd all be better off. We'd have better local taxes, and we would have less stress in our lives. But that, that's part of the process. You try your best, and it's a messy process. Lots of checks and balances. The founding fathers built it that way. They meant it to be slow and cumbersome, and sometimes it's too slow and too cumbersome. But that's the way it was designed. So, guys, thank you. I showed up. I worked hard. It always amazes me when you just kind of do your job and try to help whoever you can, that you get some recognition and praise as I've gotten along the way. And so it's maybe a good lesson for all of us. So I will treasure this special key. I will not abuse it. I will stay out of the places I shouldn't go into. But I want you to know that I'm very, very grateful. And Susan and I and our kid are going to be around for a long time, and we'll be happy to help. I'll see you all soon. Thanks. All right, be easy on these guys. Don't get too tough now. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Our next item on tonight's agenda, we have today's proclamation for the record, just declaring June 17th through 23rd as Youth Week in Middletown Township. Next item on tonight's agenda, we have a public hearing of proposed ordinances. Our only ordinance for public hearing tonight is 2018-3224, and ordinance 2018-3224 bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $369,250 for various park acquisitions and improvements by and for the Township of Middletown in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing issuance of $276,937.50 in bonds or notes of the Township for financing part of the appropriation.
So we need a motion to open a public hearing for ordinance 2018-3224. Does anyone wish to be heard on that ordinance?
my name is Don Watson. We're doing it at 1 Collins Drive in New London. I was wondering if anybody on the committee can explain what type of improvements are going to make at each park?
It's for the, you do a list that's one with the list of those improvements.
I was just wondering why they weren't listed in the ordinance. If there's anybody on the deck.
They're in an application. This is a project that was part of Green Acres grant application.
Right.
So that's where you list all the specific projects. It includes the park, the improvements to Tindal Park, development of dog park at Tindal.
What we're doing in the park to the whole park?
No, there'll be some improvements to the SkyLogic system, which is the system that controls the lights. There'll be security cameras put in Tindal Park. There'll be some ADA improvements at Tindal Park. There will also be cameras placed at Croydon Mall, cameras and ADA improvements at Normanview Park, cameras, fencing, and ADA improvements at Lincroft Acres, including replacement of sod and the soccer fields there, and cameras at Nuts Marshall Fields. That's the first phase of a long-term 5-year phase project.
This one, we just covered.
Those ones I just listed, yeah.
Okay.
There's more to come.
All right. But then we'll get to move out more and more.
Yes.
to that.
Well, we have to apply to Green Acres for the next phase. So each year there'll be an application. The application is a detailed listing of all the projects that we proposed.
So this is for this year on
This phase.
this phase. Okay.
Yeah, it'll take more than a year to do.
All right. So it's a multi-year. I was just curious. I can get a list of that on the improvements,
Sure.
that application.
Yeah.
I get it.
I sent it to you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to be heard on 2018-3224? Seeing none, motion to close the public hearing. See that? That's what happens when I don't wear my glasses, right?
You can slide over and see which way. Thank you.
No glasses will get me to the first 3 rows. I need glasses for the rows after that. Your name is please?
Hi, Diane Millison, 5 Westminster Lane, Middletown. I'm just wondering about the Tindal Park green space project, the dog park. What exactly, like, that's going where the mini golf went, but it's not going to fit there. So how many acres are going to have to be torn down to fit that?
We don't anticipate tearing anything down. It will fit there. Part of the park will actually go into the woods, so there'll be some trees within the park, and the other features will mostly be within where the miniature golf course was. There's also a parking lot there. So the final design hasn't been done, but we don't really anticipate taking down any major amounts of trees, just some underbrush.
Because I've been at Thompson Park and it's very big compared to where that mini golf.
This is not a county park, though, so it wouldn't need to be as big as what that's Thompson Park.
Okay. You don't expect it to be too crowded, it being like a small dog park?
Well, it will be sized appropriately. I mean, if it gets heavily used, we can look at expanding it if we feel like we need to. But we're going to design it in a way that we think will accommodate what the township needs to be. And then we'll assess it over time, and if it needs to be bigger, we can look at making it bigger. But we don't anticipate clearing any significant areas of trees. Most of it will be the brush that you see growing up in between the trees coming out.
And also, so all the projects you listed, that's not really acquiring any additional open space, it's just, like this $300,000 won't go towards acquiring any open space, it's just towards improvements?
Yes, this specific program for Green Acres is specifically for park improvements, not park acquisition. That's all it's for. Okay.
Thank you. Leo?
Good evening, everyone. Leo Christophany, Middletown. This is 2018-3224.
Yes.
Will you be calling up the authorization of $276,000. Is that going to be open for a hearing?
This is the hearing.
The reason why I'm asking, there's two ordinances related to bonding, authorizing, issuing it, whatever, and the entries, there's only material for 3224 in this binder. So, I really wanted to ask.
The one we have to clarify is the 369-250 is the one that we're having a public hearing on right now. And you're talking about the issue of the 276-937-50? Can you just clarify that, please?
The total bond ordinance is $369,250. The debt being authorized is $276,937.50.
Okay, so
This is a Green Acres program, so we have to, by law, do an ordinance that authorizes the debt, but this is going to be 25% grant and 75% low interest loan from Green Acres.
The 276 on the second page of the agenda list is part of the 369.
Yes.
It's 75%.
It's the same word.
What is the amount that 276 dealing with, and what is the rest remaining dealing with, paying for?
It's a grant, so you have to pay 75% to get the 25% grant. So that's why we have to bond for 276. We get 25% more from the state to do more improvements.
So you're, in effect, issuing and authorizing, I assume, bonding for $276,000, and the rest is grant money.
Right, we won't be going out for bonds on this. The debt that's being authorized is a Green Acres loan. But it has to be written this way, that's according to bond law. Anytime you authorize any debt, it has to be written this way.
Am I understanding you to say that the $276,000 is not really going to be authorized and issued as bonds?
Correct.
For what?
It's going to be a Green Acres low interest loan.
So the whole amount of money, $369,000, will not be a debt, and will not be a debt service to this government and its treasury.
That's correct, based on the explanation that our CFO just provided.
Well, it's a loan, it's just not, it's still...
It's not bonds.
Right, it's not bonds, it's a different form of debt.
It's a direct loan payment. Green Acres has a specific program where they will give you 25% of the cost of the project as a grant. But the remaining 75% you pay a low interest loan directly to Green Acres for. You don't go out and borrow to pay that. You pay directly to the state.
So you're incurring a debt service to the Green Acres.
Said another
To
way.
the extent that a loan is a debt, yes.
And what is the estimated interest on the loan? 2.5%?
2%.
2%. The county treasurer estimates it will probably be for bonding money 2.5% probably from commercial banks. So you're getting a deal by half a percent.
Not only are you getting a deal by 0.5%, you're getting 25% additional money as a grant.
I'm just talking
More than covers the interest. But if you don't take the loan, Leo, you don't get the 25%.
there will be a debt statement service, supplemental debt service that I could get from the,
Yes, that was filed on June 4th when the ordinance was introduced.
I would like to get that through Oprah. If I can't get it tonight, I'll get it tomorrow. I'll get it whenever you get it ready. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. Anyone else that was heard on 2018-3224? All right, seeing none, motion to close to the public and approve, please.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Perry.
Yes.
Committeeman Heidel.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt this ordinance on second and final reading. At this time, we have introduction of proposed ordinances. Our first ordinance, 2018-3225, an ordinance amending Chapter 465-96 of the Code of the Township of Middletown, adding parking restrictions along Latham Avenue.
Motion to approve 2018-3225. Second. You got it.
Okay. Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Perry.
Yes.
Committeeman Heidel.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first hearing with a public hearing to be held July 16, 2018. Our next ordinance for introduction, 2018-3226, an ordinance authorizing enforcement of traffic regulations upon the private or semi-public roadways and parking areas upon Block 615, Lot 94 at 1287 Highway 35.
Motion to approve 2018-3226, please.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Perry.
Yes.
Committeeman Heidel.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held July 16, 2018. Our next ordinance, 2018-3227, bond ordinance providing appropriation of $5,209,500 for various capital improvements by and for the Township of Middletown and the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $4,070,275 in bond or notes of the Township for financing part of the appropriation.
Motion to approve 2018-3227, please.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Perry.
Yes.
Committeeman Heidel.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held July 16, 2018. Next ordinance, 2018-3228, a bond ordinance reappropriating $358,352.71, proceeds of obligations not needed for the original purposes for the acquisition of various improvements by the Township of Middletown, New Jersey.
Motion to approve 2018-3228. Sorry.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Perry.
Yes.
Committeeman Heidel.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held July 16, 2018. Our next ordinance, 2018-3229, a bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $400,000 for the acquisition of property located at 480 State Highway 36 by and for the Township of Middletown and the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $380,000 in bonds or notes of the Township for financing part of the appropriation.
Motion to approve 2018-3229.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Perry.
Yes.
Committeeman Heidel.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held July 16, 2018. Our next ordinance, 2018-3230, bond ordinance amending bond ordinance number 2015-3141, finally adopted by the Township Committee of the Township of Middletown, New Jersey on June 15, 2015.
Motion to approve 2018-3230.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Perry.
Yes.
Committeeman Heidel.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held July 16, 2018. Our final ordinance for introduction, 2018-3231, Bond ordinance amending bond ordinance number 2018-3219, finally adopted by the Township Committee of the Township of Middletown, New Jersey on April 16, 2018.
Motion to approve 2018-3231, please.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Perry.
Yes.
Committeeman Heibel.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Senatorino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Deputy Mayor Senatorino.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing July 16, 2018. At this time, we have our consent agenda. I would like to ask the Township Committee to adopt a consent agenda which would include resolutions 18-163 through 18-179, and including bingo and raffle applications and firefighter applications.
Motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Perry.
Yes.
Committeeman Heibel.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Senatorino.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass consent agenda. At this time, we have the Township Committee acting as the ABC issuing authority. At this time, I'd like to ask the Township Committee if you'd like to adopt a consent agenda with resolutions 18-180 through 18-184.
Motion to approve the consent agenda 18-180 through 18-184.
Second. Sorry.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Perry.
Yes.
Committeeman Heibel.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Senatorino.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt consent. This time, we have Township Committee comments.
Thank you. Committeeman Perry, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a few things. Had the honor, I'll say, of attending the Middletown preschool graduation last week. Some people aspire to give the commencement speeches at Harvard and Yale, and I was fortunate enough to give it a pre-K graduation at the MAC. But I will tell you, you had some incredibly young students there, several veterinarians, several Army men, as they were referred to. One little girl who wants to be a teacher, but I think she's got stardom, on Broadway written all over her face after all the songs that they performed. Also went to Tindal Park for a sign pollution ribbon cutting. I want to congratulate Haley Lawrence and Jake Mark, who were two students from High School South who came up with the design to bring all the signs. It's amazing how many there are actually into one cohesive unit, and it was great to take part in that ribbon cutting. Deputy Mayor Senatorino and I were fortunate enough to attend the Relay for Life opening ceremony, I guess 2 weeks ago. And I have to tell you, I don't think there was a dry eye in the house. The folks speaking, the inspiration, the teams, the amount of students that were there, the amount of family members, but I need to point out one in particular, and that was our Assistant Administrator, Jim Bedness, whose wife is a survivor. But what was even more inspiring was just earlier that day I had found out, the rest of the Township Committee had found out that Jim's mother-in-law had passed away. And yet, they were there in full force, and they were there to celebrate her life. Not just Jim's, Mrs. Van Ness's survival, but her mother's life. And I just want to commend you, and you and I spoke that day, and it was incredible to sit there with you and your family and your grandchildren, both dressed as Dorothy with their little Totos. And it was great to see. So thank you, Jim, for representing the town in such a great way. And then finally, 2 Saturdays ago, I stopped by, as some of you may have seen, we did start a small business Saturday focus, because I've taken on the slogan that every Saturday should be Small Business Saturday in Middletown. And I visited several so far, and the last one I did was Red Light Coffee in Wincroft. Jeff, the owner there, is an incredible guy, Army veteran Army Ranger for 2 decades. and then decided to start a coffee shop in Ocean Grove, I believe. The day he was set to open Lincroft Red Light Coffee Store, his one in Ocean Grove caught on fire, and yeah, he still keeps going. So it was great to be there and put a little spotlight on a great small business to raise awareness for them and to try and let folks know that these guys are out there and we should support them in every way that we can. So that's all I have. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, David Perry. We had a busy month, Tony missed a couple things that he attended, but we had a very busy month. So we started off with the annual Memorial Day Parade, which was different for me because we got to march in the front this time, not with fire trucks in the back. It was truly amazing to see everyone out there with the flags and the kids, and was just an amazing event for us to attend. We, Tony Perry and myself, also attended the Firefighter 1 graduation for our new recruits. That just touches me every time I go there. 22 years ago, I graduated from our fire academy here, and it was great to see some more recruits coming through. We do need some more, so please pass that along. And then lastly, I attended an event with Mr. Perry this weekend for ex-chief Bill Kennelly. He was a police officer in town for 25 years. He was a former fire chief. Actually served with my father. He's a great man. Leaves a young family behind. And that's it. So thank you for the public that attended that and came out and showed their support. That's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It's great to get to go third, so you don't have to rehash all the different events. I thank my colleagues for doing that, and I won't be duplicitative. A few things for me this evening. Number one, just wanted to reiterate the honor it was for me this evening to honor a truly great representative, not just the state of New Jersey, but not just Monmouth County, but Middletown's own Joseph Kyrillos, our senator. I can tell you that in my now 10 years on the governing body and some previous experiences prior, there has been nobody who has fought as hard for the residents, any resident of Middletown, harder than Joseph Kyrillos. And just a true honor to award him a proclamation, a man who gave 30 years of his life to better the state of New Jersey and to better his community. I hope that he continues and gets back into community and public service once again. He is a relatively young man who started at a very young age, but I'm proud to call Joe Kyrillos not only our senator, but a good friend, and a true honor to recognize him this evening. One of the things that you may not or may see on the consent agenda is the Township Committee this evening ratified an MOA with our police department. And I cannot tell you how proud, I know I speak for all of my colleagues, we are of our police department and the work that they do in this community. We are so very fortunate to always be and to have been recognized as such a safe community, and that goes, hand in hand in terms of having a tremendous partnership with the administration and the wonderful police organization that we're so proud to employ here in Middletown, that really goes and does a tremendous job in working to keep us and our residents safe. As a father, that's very important to me. As a taxpayer, that's very important to me. And as a governing body official, that is very important to me. So thank you to the Middletown PBA for all you do, and I'm happy to be able to say that we were able to work an agreement out. Unlike, sometimes these things get a little sideways, we really are fortunate to have such professionalism. So I know we have a representative here, and I wanted to just thank your leadership and your membership for working with this administration. And finally, as I know the public, seems to be quite a few people here this evening, finally, this is the last meeting before clearly school will be out, so early congratulations to all of our future Middletown graduates of North and South. our graduates of the middle schools and elementary schools who are moving on up. And just a reminder to all of Middletown's residents that when school's out, that means there are more children out, right? So I think it's vitally important that you remember that as we are on the roads, as we're going through the communities, and watch out for children playing in the streets. It's certainly that time of year, so just an extra cautious memo that I know our police department makes every year. That's all I have this evening, Deputy Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Committeeman Fiore. So you had mentioned it's difficult to go third, slightly more difficult to go fourth. But I do echo the sentiments of my colleagues with regard to Senator Kyrillos, a great man, a great service that's unparalleled to the Township of Middletown. We're fortunate to have him in the legislature fighting for the township and the residents of Middletown. Just a couple of items. I did have the honor of attending the Relay for Life with Committeeman Terry, and so one thing I do listen for is something that you may have forgotten to mention, and I was impressed by the fact that the Relay for Life, this is the 34th year that they've done this, and there was a very large inflatable purple chair, right, Committeeman, on the field, and that doesn't happen for all of the Relays for Life throughout New Jersey, but it was solely in Middletown, because Middletown was the location that had raised the most funds for the Relay for Life, and we're proud, the governing body is proud to have supported that. So that was it was a great event to be a part of, and to continue to support and to support all the survivors and the caregivers and all the efforts that they provide day in and day out. We thank you so much for that. Two other quick items. I did have the honor of attending another Eagle Scout ceremony, and when I've gone to these, it's never one Eagle Scout, and sometimes it's never two. It's always been 3 or 4. So the last Eagle Scout ceremony that I was at, there were 3 new Eagles awarded, and I was told by the Scoutmaster there's more to come this year. So we're proud to be a part of that. We're proud to support our future leaders, understanding that about 4% of all Scouts that start in Boy Scouts make it to the rank of Eagle Scout. So we look to those leaders to be the future leaders of our town. And the last item with regard to the county. I was fortunate enough to attend the Monmouth County Battery Lewis dedication. It's a World War II gun that was dedicated this past Saturday by Freeholder Director Arnone. And I have to say, after I turned around on where was the road, Tony, towards the in Highlands, Portland, right? So I only thought I was on the wrong road once and turned around. So I had never been to this location before. And if you've never been there, go and take a look at the museums there. Okay. Go and take a look at the site that's there. It's breathtaking, and it's something that people should understand what our history was and what the history of the area was, so that we can understand how it is that we got here today. And Brian mentioned this.
I'm sorry, I just forgot one thing, because our public information officers put it out earlier.
This is a one-time law.
Yes, thank you. Just really quick, I just wanted to mention that our public information office did put out a voting safety, obviously with the 4th of July weekend not far away, and Memorial Day. They did put out some safety tips and reminders that you can find on our website and our social media pages. So I would just take note of that. I did forget to mention that, and I apologize.
You're not providing any voting lessons.
Believe me, you don't want voting lessons.
Thank you, Committeeman Perry. Now we move on to our public comments. One thing that I would ask is that please, when you get up the microphone, provide your name and address, and please limit to your comments to 5 minutes. We'd be more than happy to stay after the meeting to listen to anything else that you have to say or can ask of us. So we can do this in an orderly fashion, 5 minutes at a time. Name and address, please. Anyone wish to be heard? Yes, sir.
Adam Gold, Patrolman, President of PBA 124. I just wanted to thank the Mayor Township Committee, Mr. McConnell, Ms. Lara, and Mr. Manis for the hard work that you guys put into the ratification of our contract. I know I'm speaking for myself, the board, and our PBA. We really appreciate it. We love this town, we'll serve this town, and I thank you for helping us move the resolution.
Thank you very much.
Hi, it's Elizabeth Pomeroy from 20 Brotherton Ave. I was here the last month, I guess, and I was a little bit disappointed and surprised that the mayor and committee seem to have forgotten about their sustainable pledge. I was wondering, given the efforts that this committee is making to build very complex projects like the electrical grid with the Navy, I would just like to remind you that there's similar things that the committee can do, like complete streets. Just to refresh your memories going forward, although I know it's not really on your minds, but maybe I could remind you that in 2009, you pledged to focus your efforts going forward to get certification for sustainable Jersey. And you achieved that in 2010, 2013, 2016. You did not achieve certification in 2017. I don't know if you're working on that for 2018, but I'd like to commend you for making that achievement in the past and to hope that in the future you will take it into consideration. Specifically with the project that you have before you now. You're working on a new municipal complex, I believe. You're working on a new interchange for Route 35 between Keynes Lane and Keynes Highway. And you're also working on the redevelopment plan for the project Village 35, I guess it's referred to. In your pledge that you made and then remade in 2010, 2013, 2016, you said that you would work on a complete streets approach. In your pledge, you said...
Do you have that anywhere that you can show us?
After the
we said that we would
maybe tomorrow I can give that to you.
If you can, that would be great.
Of course.
When
I
it
realize
says
that you're...
complete streets, that's what I'd like to see.
You don't have like any grasp of this. And I did ask about it last month, and you had not considered it for these major projects. And in the pledges that you made, you said you would consider walking, biking, and transit along with cars when you plan transportation projects, review development projects, and locate municipal buildings. So I just want to remind you that you made this pledge, you have attained the certification in the past, you made a pledge to focus your activities to get certification in the future, and that this is just a call to you, that this is a pretty important thing, like I said, given that you're building brand new electrical grids to combat climate change, that this is a simple thing to do, and that would be my comment to you. And I did have a question. The town administrator said that you would be meeting with the state DOT and that possibly he would bring up working with the state in order to change the interchange, make a design improvement, I would call it, to the Route 35 corridor to add in some of these complete street design elements. So that's my question.
So before the administrator responds, one thing to clarify, if you don't mind, and thank you for your comments, is with regard to the microgrid study, it is a study that we're doing at this moment in time. It is a grant that we received. We've hired engineers to execute that study. We expect that only that by the end of this year, beginning of next year, it'll be submitted. If we are one of the municipalities to receive some design funding to move forward with that, we'll certainly review it at that time. But it is not. You have to understand that at this point, we're executing a study for a microgrid which will provide offline power to the infrastructure, not every house, but to the infrastructure of the region. So I want to make sure we clarify that.
That's exactly what I meant. What I meant is that you're taking time, your time and effort to plan for this, and it's a very complex project. Who knows how far it's going to go, but this is the kind of development that I think is good for Middletown in the long run. But it's complex, and when I talked about complete streets, I didn't get any feeling from the committee that you were aware of it, you knew what it was. Where you had the green team working on the design for the municipal complex, for the redevelopment plan for the large parcel that you just designated in redevelopment. And because of that, I was thinking I should come back to you and just try to lay it down for you simple. It's like, you made the pledge in 09. As far as I know, you're still working on it. Since 2016, you did make the certification cutoff, which there's only 200 municipalities in New Jersey that have that. So it is a designation that we can all be proud of. I wish we had gotten it in 2017. It's something that's attainable. And this is such a fantastic opportunity to take a leadership role and to do something very simple. Maybe make a little study.
So ma'am, we certainly appreciate your comments tonight. Our administrator has clarified in 2017, Tony.
Yeah, just to clarify, first of all, with regard to the meeting with the DOT, it hasn't happened yet, but we were actually just talking about it today. So I'm thinking within 2 to 3 weeks, we expect to have that meeting with them. But with regarding state of New Jersey, we've been bronze since 2010, I believe, and we've never not been bronze. We've always been certified every single year. They just don't change your scores or reevaluate your scores every single year. They sometimes do it every other year. But that doesn't mean you lose your certification. It just means they're not looking at reevaluating. But we just did submit information to Sustainable Jersey last week, and we anticipate being moved up to silver, which is actually probably less than 20 towns in New Jersey have achieved silver status. So we take it very, very seriously. And we're very involved heavily in Sustainable Jersey, and so I don't want people to get the impression that we don't. It's a very important aspect of
I read the list of activities that you had done in order to attain the certification, and I just would like to call out to the committee to think about using your opportunity that you have right now to make good on your pledge in a way that's going to have an enormous impact on the town.
Sometimes though, Sustainable Jersey, if I may, changes the goalposts too. Okay, they move the goalposts too. So to say that we made a pledge in 2009 for complete streets is an inaccurate statement. Okay, because unless you could show where the Sustainable Jersey, and I would welcome you to see it because half the committee wasn't here in 2009, but to say that because we participated in the program means that everything had to be a complete street is not a valid statement.
I did not say that.
You said we made a pledge for complete streets in 2009 that you wanted us to uphold. Sometimes they change the goalposts, okay, and they move them. For example, there was one year in 2012, I can remember, where the Sustainable Jersey had requirements on invasive species plants that we would have to go back to residents and tell them they couldn't particularly do. So to say that we have to follow every single letter of Sustainable Jersey, that is an administrative decision based on the criteria they changed. You said that we made a pledge for complete streets in 2009. We're not living up to our pledge.
No, I said that I understand that this has not been on your radar.
It's not on our radar.
And you meeting this certification, and would you please consider taking this opportunity, that is what I said, to use one of the elements in order to attain your certification going forward.
Ma'am, we appreciate we understand. We appreciate your comments tonight. Thank you very much, and we just need to move on to the next.
Well, I didn't take offense that my words seem to have been twisted, and that I came to you and said you have to do this.
Ma'am,
I guess I'll ask for that.
We appreciate your comments. We'd like to see if we move on to the next speaker, please. But thank you very much for bringing this back to our attention.
May I ask one more question?
You can, ma'am.
Are you going to consider this going forward?
We'd be happy to stay as long as you like when we're complete with the meeting.
I'm sorry, I didn't know my time was up. Did I pass the 5-minute mark?
You did, yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Anyone else from the public? Yes. Sir?
Jeff Thompson, 27 Brandywine Way.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Recently read in the Independent on May 29th that the Township Administrator indicated that the redeveloped municipal complex will include multiple pad sites to provide a stream of income, I guess, to help offset the costs. And I wanted to ask, if you can answer now or in the future, what specific types of commercial structures will these pad sites be? How many are planned? And what road configurations will be required on-site 335 Kings Highway to accommodate the increased traffic of the consolidated municipal center and the pad sites?
Well, thank you for that question. We're in the process right now of reviewing what those options are with our redeveloper, Brandywine, that we had selected. And the selection of those options, we haven't made any selections yet, will be predicated upon exactly what you just mentioned. It will be predicated upon potential revenue. It will be predicated upon a traffic impact. It will be predicated upon how it will impact the surrounding community. All of those things are fully within our control. And at this point, we've made no decisions with regard to the amount or number or type of pad sites, because those specific decisions have to make certain that they don't negatively impact the surrounding area with regard to things like traffic and impact to the highway. So we've made no decision on it to date.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And I have, I think I'm under my 5 minutes. I have one more comment and question. Regarding the Village 35 and redesigning the interchanges and highways, I've studied all the malls in New Jersey and Monmouth County, and there are no malls in the state that funnel traffic exiting the mall directly into a residential neighborhood. In fact, if you look at, even through Google Maps or you go in person, all other malls are designed to avoid this problem. They will only allow traffic to exit at a place, at a traffic light, where you can go left or right on the main thoroughfare, but not go straight into a neighborhood. And the proposed mall has 2 or 3 exits, including a realigned Kings Highway East, that will go directly into a neighborhood should people not turn. And every other mall in the state has designed ways around that, where you exit at a traffic light in the middle, where there's no intersections across the street, you have to go left or right, and then they funnel traffic through other ways to let people get back into their neighborhoods, but not from the mall. So my question is, if Middletown is going to approve a groundbreaking new design in traffic flow, which other malls have avoided, you can check that out. And if this disregards the safety and or quality of life of people living in these neighborhoods, how will you deal with the groundbreaking problems and potential lawsuits that can follow?
So I think one thing to keep in mind is there's been no approvals to date. You understand that the process with regard to the redevelopment process and the governing body and the planning. So I want to make certain that your question is asked at the right venue, and that body, whether it's the governing body or the planning board, can answer that question specifically at that venue.
I understand.
Right?
I understand. I have seen the proposed intersection.
Sure. So
it just seems like it's exiting traffic into a neighborhood.
And that's something that at the planning board level you should certainly bring up.
but one thing to keep in mind, there's been no approvals to date, and we welcome your comments with regard to making anything better and less impactful with regard to
I understand. And I appreciate you listening. I just think about any malls you've been to, or look on Google Maps, and you'll see what you've designed or what has been proposed before is somewhat groundbreaking.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sir, ma'am, please. Yeah. Question? Yes.
Oh, no, I wanted to come up.
Oh.
No, he can go first if he wants to.
Come on.
My name is Joe Monaco. I live at 83 Woodland Drive. I just have one question. The street in front of my house is a disaster. And the whole neighborhood has been complaining.
Talking about
They're really-
Brush. What do you speak in specific?
The asphalt.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep on coming to patch it, but they're not even really doing a good job. Is there any plan to fix the street?
Can you make comment on that?
That's actually included in the ordinance that was passed tonight.
Okay.
Woodland Drive in that area is on this list.
Okay. On the corner of Twin Brooks and
Yeah.
Woodland?
Can
You know what the...
Can you explain the word?
Well, we've been patching it for a while, we know that, we've had it on our list, we've been prioritizing every year, but it is on the final list this year. So we probably will have a shared services agreement with Long County, DPW company, and all that, and take that session. Hopefully by the end of the summer.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. May
My name is Nicole Alessio. I'm the right on the corner of 44 Grand Line, and I'm here to talk tonight about crosswalks and our children and resident safety. I already reached out to the mayor via email, and I just talked to with Councilman Gray. The area where I live, by the Kings Highway, has seen many families, young families move in. Many of us have or will have kids attending Middletown Village Elementary School. Our area, and both within 2 miles, do not get buses. So we can drive or walk. And I know some people think walking is crazy, but actually a good group of us know that walk to and from school is better than us. It's actually a really nice walk. It affords children more time to be outside, they don't get to school as much, and it's more exercise. So I know Middletown is not known for walking, it's not why I moved here, but it's really something we should be increasing, especially where we live. We can walk. We have sidewalks most of the way. I grew up in the city of Boston. I lived in Hoboken for 18 years. I know how to cross streets. I'm not a novice. I'm not some suburbanite who never cross streets. So, however, walking to school with my kids or home is definitely presents some obstacles. First and foremost, as you come out of Grand Line, there are no sidewalks on our side of the Kings Highway, so we have to cross over. That's obstacle number 2. Coming out of our neighborhood, there is no method to get across Kings Highway. There's no crosswalks unless you walk up to Church Street or down to Route 35. But again, there's no sidewalks to get to those. So we basically, right across the street, which then we're presented with obstacle 3, which is the long road. So while there is a stop sign, this intersection has no stop bar or no crosswalk currently. Cars roll right on through and turn without even looking if there's someone crossing or already crossing or waiting to cross. This intersection has red shaded domes on both sides, but there's nothing to connect them near a crosswalk. You can see at one point there was a crosswalk. There's also a crossing guard for us, and probably again it's weird that people are walking. But I know there is down in Bonifacio. The cars at this intersection have no regard for anyone walking. Just on Friday, several of us stood in New Market trying to get across, and not one driver paused to let us go. And I even had a kid in a stroller that didn't even bat their eyes at that. I always tell my kids to look the driver in the eye and make sure they make a connection when they know when to cross. These drivers just ignore you and go right on through, or worse for it to get through the crossing. Recently, new crosswalks went into place for Church and Kings Highway for people walking to the train station. A crosswalk at New Monmouth would also benefit these people in addition to the school children. I understand the new lights at Church and Kings Highway will go on soon, and everyone wants to assess the traffic on Kings Highway, but that won't stop the cars at New Monmouth from going through. It actually probably will accelerate it, because we're going to try to keep the light in those cars coming happen. As you ride down Middletown New Park Road, it is tonight, almost every neighborhood has a crosswalk as well as a pedestrian side, alluring and driving to the crosswalk that's up and coming. And these crosswalks allow people to get from the sidewalk side to the sidewalk side. And I feel that we in this neighborhood should be afforded a similar option. So from looking at past budgets, it appears that crosswalks crosswalks cost roughly $500 and stop are less than $400. And I'd like to ask that, can we find a budget somewhere to get depending on it? Well, parts of Kings Highway, I know are county, the section I'm referring to is Middletown. So the decision is within your bounds. So I've highlighted many issues, but all I'm asking right now is to start slow. Paint the crosswalk at any moment and then work with us on the rest. Maybe a crossing guard at certain times in the year when the weather makes sense, but please get the crosswalk painted, or please let me know what you need from us. The residents of this area are totally ready to help with this. They'll sign petitions, they'll raise funds, whatever you need us to do. It's too late for this year, but I urge you to do the right thing for the new school year and get the crosswalk. Thank you for allowing me to
Thank you so much for your comments, and the safety of our residents, safety of our children is paramount to the township and to the governing body here. So with regard to the crosswalk, if it's on or crosses a county road, we'd be happy to reach out to the county engineer to coordinate having that done and see if there's any restrictions with regard to that road to place it there.
Yeah, I know we talked briefly and there was a concern, not a concern, you guys were considering as part of the meeting stuff, maybe repeating things like, so of course, things that did that makes zero sense, I'm on board with that. I got exactly what I was trying to do again. But I don't know when that decision will come, so, you know, we got 7 days of school left, but September, or then meeting is going to change the calendar, so September 5th isn't far away.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Yeah? That's row 7, so then
Hi, I'm Denise Hannigan. I live at 8 Crest Road. The question I have is about the current Middletown PAL boxing. I believe that you stopped over there today. Thank you very much. So Middletown PAL boxing is currently on this campus, whether or not you guys are aware of it. It provides a very unique support for our residents and especially our youth. My children participate in that program, and actually we've got about half of the Middletown South hockey team doing workouts over there to prepare themselves for the upcoming season. It's just come to my attention that the new $20 million structure that you're putting here does not include the PAL, and that it wasn't accounted for, and there was no space found for it, and that Coach just got word that 3 months ago that there was no room for him and that you were going to find an option. And then he was just told last week that you were not going to find any option for that program.
Well, with regard to your last comment, and I know the administrator has been working to see if we can locate another place for the club to go. It's not something that we take lightly with regard to jettisoning any programs within town, or certainly on this complex. So when I hear anything finite, like the club will go and it's not going to be relocated, it's just not fair to the administration here. I know that Tony Mercantante has looked at several locations, and not only in this town, but we're also trying to expand our search to other towns with regard to the demographics of the membership of the club. Because I know they're not all from Middletown, correct?
I don't know the specifics of the club members. I know that my children and several other children are not part of the particular house.
So we're doing two things at the moment. One thing that I would stress is that it is, whoever said to you that it's not going to be relocated is inaccurate and incorrect. We are working tirelessly at the moment to either try to find another site in town, off-site, or similarly to look at the demographics of the club and see, with regard to our neighboring towns, if they have any other location that this club can be located at. So it is something that's certainly on we take it very seriously. It's not a scenario where we're tossing someone out. We just haven't found a location yet. We're trying to look at all options, not only within the town, but in the surrounding towns to get them relocated. So
why wasn't it part of the revitalization of this area? Why wasn't it added?
Because it couldn't be, because that building's not ADA accessible. There's plenty of issues with that building, so we could not put that as part of this site. It was not possible.
I don't understand.
Right, so
You mean you couldn't build a facility that was ADA, that was compliant, that was part of when you were redoing this area? If you don't mind, I don't understand.
Well, the answer is that, look, the boxing club has been there for a very long time on basically a handshake. They had no lease. They had no legal authority to be there. The county township provided an empty space to them. That building hasn't been demolished. It's not a building that should be occupied anymore. That building's going to be demolished in conjunction with the municipal complex being redone. So, but the township and the taxpayers couldn't build a building for police that. I mean, they occupied that space for $0 for all these years. And so they can't pay a rent. So we couldn't provide a free space to one particular organization because there's many organizations in town that would like to have a free space. We can't do that. So we told them a long time ago that, when it came time to move forward with the municipal complex, that building was ultimately going to have to be demolished. So we looked at other locations. We're still looking for other locations that they might move to, but they have to hope somebody can provide them with a space for free. And we're hoping somebody can. We can on this complex, and there's no other buildings that can accommodate that. The difficulty with that club is that a boxing ring is not like when you set up and take it down every day. It's permanent structure. And so it's hard to find a space that can accommodate a boxing ring, 24/7, 12 months a year, and for free. And so that's the challenge. But we are trying to find a place. I'm a big fan of the club, and I want them to have a space. So we're trying to do it. We're not just booting them out and saying, you're on your own. We're trying to help them.
And if I can, just echo the comments of Deputy Mayor Senator. I did go over there today. I spoke to Coach Paul. He was a great guy. I mean, so dedicated to the organization. I met some of the folks over there. And we had a phone conversation earlier in the day, and he asked me if I'd stop by, and I was happy to. And as Deputy Mayor said, as our administrator has said, we're going to keep doing what we can, looking at facilities that we have asked already, and they have said, unfortunately, due to the size of the grade and then the permanent structure that it is, we can't accommodate that in several places that we've already approached, whether it be size or whether it be sitting there, again, like Tony said, 24/7, 365. So Paul and I had a great dialogue this afternoon, and I hope it continues. I met some pretty kids over there, and obviously, I don't think I met yours, but it seems to be a very good program. That's the administrator. So.
It's an excellent program. There's not a program in Middletown that supports our youth not only with a physical strength, but as you said, Coach Paul works with these young men and women individually. The mental toughness, the mental stamina, the mental confidence that these youth have gotten through this program. I understand it's free, they get it for free. I'm sure that something can be worked out, that a program such as this in such a large community with our number of children, with the drug problem in this county and in this town, and with all the suicides in our young people, that when you have a very unique program that works with our youth and helps to build them and their confidence, I think whether a space is given to them for free or not, I think it's something that I hope that you will make as important as I feel is committed to the program. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else over speaker? Leo, and Leo. Leo, you're in.
We're soon to get, a little month, sometime in August, a tax statement bill, and the tax statement bill caused me to work using my grade school arithmetic, my high school and collegiate, post-collegiate mathematics knowledge. And I'll just fair at it. But I found out that there's some serious problems in the tax statement bill, that how it itself identifies itself. And we get with it the tax payment bill for 4 quarters. Two of them are preliminary payments. Well, actually, I think it's 2 final ones are paid and then 2 preliminary ones are paid to go along with the split calendar budgets that the state of New Jersey uses at all government levels. I would suggest that I will be doing the same this year. When I searched why my tax statement, the payment bill was $5,100, I found out it actually included the whole calendar. It wasn't a split calendar. And so I made a statement, and I want to correct any misunderstanding that may have occurred last year. I found out that the calendar year, 2 years, compared to 2 years, I don't know what the exact years were, 2016, 2017, at any rate, it was 2 calendar years, not split calendar years, 4 payments each year. The tax went up 14.1%, all municipal taxes. So this particular government body should not have concerned itself, if they did, with an increase in the township taxes. All right, I think there was some concern that I was...
No, the issue here was your assessment went up, not your tax bill went up because your assessed value went up, if you remember, like 12%. So that caused you to have an accelerated payment on those first 2 quarters.
But the county went flat last year.
Well, we went flat too last year, but the problem is your assessment.
So it's a school board, it's a school board and the fire departments, I guess.
No,
but
it was your assessment went up.
I gave you the document.
I showed it to you.
I gave you the matter. So I'll be going through that again. I hope
it goes down this year.
I do too. That's why I'm standing here. Susanna Cervanka, Asbury Park Press, she put this article out on debt collection. 1 for New Jerseyans are behind. Sunday, June 10th, Asbury Park Press, page 18, section A. She gives the, just one, I'll Xerox this, have a copy of the Xerox on her own now, I guess, so how outdated I am. It gives the average household income in 21 counties. I wrote a statistic on the back, adding those 21 household, I guess it's gross household incomes. It came to the average household income in 21 counties came to $2,065,769. So each township was, actually I should be saying something else. The Middletown, the Monmouth County Directory uses city, village, borough, and township. They don't use the word municipality. But at any rate, the average gross income is over $98,000. My point is that the state,
You gotta wrap it up, Leo, please.
yep, the state, the county, and the municipalities, whatever their 4 names are, all have the gross amount of household income, and because of that, I know the tax board in Freehold, the main building, has the same equivalent evidence, and we can convert all assessment system and go to gross, they start to have gross household income, final statement, and the final statement is, my household is productive, and my private property is productive of no income. I pay my property taxes out of my income. My property produces nothing. Thank you for the extra 30 seconds.
Thank you very much.
You're very generous.
Anyone else wish to be heard this evening? Ma'am?
Talked about those 35, I did speak to the Chevy Mayor, Second Green, so about concerned about the size, so the traffic.
Excuse me, which one will you get there? And give a little closer so that the folks
Can you hear now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You want me to repeat everything? Okay, since I spoke to the mayor, there was an article in Two River Times, June 7th edition, about David Ham, who is the property manager of Pilgrim Farm, which is 76 acres of the village 35 site. And it discusses his concerns about the development, the size, and he would like to actually preserve it. He's worked there since 1996. I think years ago, he actually supplied, I think, 12 food towns in the Monmouth County area with food that he has grown on the property.
That's not true. Absolutely false.
Is that false?
Unequivocally false.
Oh,
I know what you said. That article was, no, 90% of the information there was false. So.
Oh, it was. All right, well, I was going to give you the article, but has everybody read it?
We did read it.
Okay. Well, I thought that it was important because he addressed the Monmouth County Agricultural Development Board, and this would be recommended that the area should be safe for historic and agricultural significance. He also has done soil analysis, which was confirmed by William Sharapa of the Department of Head of Rutgers Co-op Extension of Monmouth County, which is also part of an arm of the Rutgers University, New Jersey Experiment Station. And they wrote a letter states the current and future importance of preserving such valuable land for the production of food, feed, and fuel is important. It's also a Class 1 soil, which helps filter stormwater for irrigation, and which is important to Middletown because we receive so much rainwater a year. These types of soils supposedly are very hard to find, not only in this area, but globally. He would like to, I guess he plans on planting on it this year, corn and melons and other stuff. But he also states there are financial backers in Middletown who privately would like to purchase the property.
I wish, ma'am, I don't mean to cut you off. We've entertained Mr. Ham in the past.
Yeah.
I wish he would come up with the funding, but he has not been able to.
He said it was, I believe, in March Running Woods area.
I wish that were the case, but he said this about 6 years ago also, and here we are today. So, I don't know.
It was giving me hope.
I feel bad for irresponsible journalism, and that's unfortunately what that article was. And listen, I think we can all say we wish that there would be an outcome of preservation, but that is a land that is a very expensive piece of property that would be well beyond the scope of Middletown Township, Monmouth County, or any agricultural board to probably buy.
And 15 to 20 million.
And keep going, I would say, for 76 acres, probably with development rights.
First of all, you know, it's a lot more. First of all, Dave Ham doesn't own 76 acres. He doesn't even own acres.
No, it doesn't own it. He's the property manager.
Yeah, and it's a lot more than acres. It's property are the ones who get farmland tax assessment. They apply for farmland tax assessment. Their farmland tax assessment is to cut down trees. That's how they make their money. They don't make money planting crops or planting vegetables. They make money by cutting down the trees and selling wood. So that's how they get a farmland assessment, which makes them pay a very, very low property tax for that property because it's farmland, but it's not producing any food at all. It's producing firewood, basically. So that stuff is really, really inaccurate, and it gives people kind of a false impression as to what the realities are dealing with this situation. But if he wants to, find benefactors who are willing to buy the property, he's welcome to do that. He's been welcome to do that for the past 20 years, and he hasn't done it.
Well, I did like this idea of having it as a training ground for local youth and especially.
Sure. It's certainly a helpful article, and we appreciate that. But at the end of the day, it's still private property, and the property owners still have the right to develop it. Unless someone else buys it.
I guess they would be happy, no matter what, right? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else this evening? Sir? Sir? Yes?
Hi, I'm John Spinelli, 91 Rowan Avenue. My question was kind of similar to hers, who I just spoke. I know David Ham, and I actually visited his property once, and there was a cabin there, and actually went through it. And I believe he said it might date back to like the 1800s, and I was wondering that, probably as it seems like that property will be developed, which, hopefully some people aren't really happy about that, but I'm just saying, has there, I think that the town should consider trying to buy that cabin, make sure that they should historically preserve it, because really in New Jersey, I guess we can say historically we're very unique, because in New Jersey, unlike say like Europe or Asia or in other continents, most of the buildings we don't really have a lot of historical buildings, especially not compared to other parts of the world. And I was just thinking, so that's my concern.
Okay. Well, that's cool. This with regard to the cabin, right?
Yes. Would it be possible that the town would try to acquire?
Well, I think there's some steps that we have to take as to its historical relevance. I mean, we have a historical commission who has not given us any guidance as to any historical relevance. We do have multiple historical houses in Middletown, like Rover House on West Front Street, Stevens Park, I'm sorry. We have, you got the one down here, down the road, the Spy House. So there are quite a bit.
Middletown we have 6 historic districts, where the entire district is regulated, so that there are clusters of older houses, not older houses, older properties, and those all has rules to protect them from being altered or demolished. Doesn't make it impossible to demolish them, but there's a lot of steps you have to take to change them. But that property is not in a historic district, so you can't really do that there. And if there's an individual historic building that is of some real historic importance, if he has documentation about that, he can give it to us, and we can certainly take a look at it. It could possibly be relocated. It could possibly be that we can get the developer to relocate it to a place where it will be safe. But we have to have some, evidence that it's actually, significant historic building, which is, worthy of being safe. But he's got that, I'll give it.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, say if the building doesn't have historical significance, say one of the governors didn't stay there or something like that. I'm just saying, what if it was a building much older than the building was from the 1700s?
Yeah, it's not going to be a building from the 1700s. We would know about that, but there's lots of criteria for being considered a historic building. Okay, it's not just being old. Right? There's some old buildings that are just old buildings, and they don't have any significant historic value. But there's other criteria. It could be a unique architect who designed the building, or a well-known builder who built the building, or something like that, or as you said, a historic figure resided there, or something like that. There are many ways to designate a building as historic. So if there's something about that building that makes it unique, and not just old, then we look at that. We need some information from them. One of the things we tend to do is we go back and look at old aerial photographs. You can get aerial photographs that go back to the 1930s. And a lot of times people talk about old buildings, and then we look at the aerial photographs and they weren't even there in 1930. You know, and so it turns out they're not as old as people think they are. But we can look at that one. If you've got any information, I'm happy to look at it.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else this evening? Yeah?
Judy Musso, 114 Kings Highway. I wanted to just bring up a couple of questions given last month's discussions. Small Business Saturday, talked about that. So Small Business Saturday, you know, this is small business. It would be great if it's Small Business Saturday here in Middletown every Saturday. It's pretty hard to have Small Business Saturday when the smallest store on the site that's proposed is a 45,000 square foot unit, it's 100,000 square foot, right? And so that's fine, that's part of the process, figuring out what should be and what should be looking at. So I did some research and I wanted to ask you, are you familiar with the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, which I think is a great organization since they provide technical assistance to communities about local solutions for sustainable development, including banking, broadband, energy, waste, local purchasing. They actually have a whole piece done on the impact of big box stores on taxes and public costs. And there are a lot of misnomers about those things, and it would be interesting if people would read it. It's only 4 pages, it's online. Download it, bigboxtoolkit.com. And on that site, what was really interesting is that the overall evaluation is that the city's long-term financial health hinges on creating high-quality jobs, protecting local assets, fostering more efficient land use. And it really looks at the numbers, and sometimes the dollars and cents don't make dollars or cents. And perhaps you want to take a look at what the real municipal revenue is going to be and the costs and the long-term investments that the town has to make, because once the developer leaves, we have to still pay for all the infrastructure increases. And in fact, usually it's the sprawl of large-scale development that actually costs local people more than more dense populated locations like downtown, Main Street kind of areas. So if this particular area is developed to look at it from a more cohesive unit to make it a real community setting rather than just another sprawling mall, which is basically what's being proposed. So I'm hoping we look at the real overall impact and ask them to do a fiscal impact analysis. And in fact, we can look it up. You can have guides to that analysis. This organization provides it for free. And it's one that you would ask a developer to supply. You would have to get an unbiased analysis of the public costs and benefits of the project the growing number of cities are requiring before they're allowing developments to be put into place.
So not to cut you off, you mentioned a fiscal impact analysis. Our administrator with regard to that redeveloper.
When the settlement was first reached on that site, it was done probably a few years ago, but there was one done.
Okay, and where is that available to us, read or look at, or what is it?
I'm sure it's still around somewhere.
Okay, will you be specific about where I find that on your website?
It's not on our website. It's not. If you would submit a request.
So I would need to submit an over request for that.
We'd be happy to get it.
Yeah, and if it's a couple of years old, I mean, look at the change and everything, so.
You do understand that based on the settlement that Mr. Mercatante speaks of, and I couldn't agree with you more, but you do understand that that whole site, okay, prior to litigation in court overturning of the township's fight to the, going back to 2001, you do realize that whole site was approved for something in the neighborhood, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Mercatante, you can correct me, but north of 1,200 townhouses was the settlement, I believe, and then we actually negotiated to do less townhouses to have retail because it is a commercial zone. So I want to be clear that there's a lot more to this than just saying that, you know, the township wants a big box, you know, retail center. Not necessarily true. What the township agreed to was to not put 1,200 townhouses at the court order. Okay, so let's be just fair about how much say we really have in this process.
The other thing you need to remember is that the original concept for that site is exactly what you're talking about. Was it downtown with a main street, small shops, second and third floor residential units, and everyone was opposed to that.
I think everyone's opposed to this size and the scope. It's not the concept, it's the size and scope.
Right, it's less than half the size of what was originally proposed, or a quarter of the size of what was originally proposed. And the question comes down, in sitting on a committee, we're sitting in as a resident, which we all are on the committee, in this would you rather have, what is more impactful to Middletown Township? Retail, which no one wants to traffic, I get it, I'm there. Okay, nobody goes down that Kings Lane more than I do probably, with gymnastics and other reasons. Would you rather have retail, or would you rather, what's more impactful with residential housing?
Retail is dead.
Residential housing would be disastrous.
If you're right that residential is dead, then you won't get financing, you'll never build it.
Right, you'll never build it if it's dead. It's just simple.
And if they don't build it, what happens? Or you could make the person who currently owns the property at least meet some basic standards that you make every resident demand. When I do something in my front yard and it looks horrible, you make me fix it, or you fine me. Like, at least pave the parking lot, make it look nice. You can put planters up. It doesn't take a lot of money to take care of it.
Right now.
You have standards that you impose on every other venue in town on how there's aesthetics and things.
Judy, not on an existing structure. Can't go out there and tell them that they need to pave their private parking lot. Just not something that we have the ability to do.
Or landscaping.
Or landscaping. We have no ability to do that. If they were going for a site plan, there's landscaping, there's planning board standards, there's a whole bunch of standards. We have no right to go over there and tell them to fix their property. We just don't, or we won't.
We can do that if it's not in good condition.
Right.
But you can't ask them to improve it if there's not a current.
Well, I don't think you're asking them to improve anything. I mean, it looks like a ghetto. Honestly, it looks horrible.
Therein lies the redevelopment plan, right? That's why we're doing it.
But that doesn't mean you have to go from one extreme to the other, is I guess the concern that people have. And there are different ways of looking at it. And this is a nice piece of information to ask us to look at it. So I'm just asking, let's take a really strong look at it, because to the point of traffic being an issue on Kings Highway, that children can't walk to school. My children walk all years that they went to school at Village every single day. Rain, shine, snow. I was a crazy mother that made them walk every single day. They never got a ride because I thought it was important to be part of your community. But if you have no way of getting anywhere, and you don't create spaces that are like that, you can't make that happen. So that's why complete streets make sense. It can be done. They do it in Fairhaven, Rumson, the entire peninsula. And those are county roads where you can only drive 25 miles an hour in Fairhaven on River Road. So why is it that those towns can do those things and we seem to be? I hear a lot about what we can't do. What can we do? Let's figure out what we can do.
We're a lot bigger than some of those smaller downtown.
I understand that.
Okay. So it's a little bit of a different scale.
So then if we're a lot bigger, my taxes should be less than my mother's in Rumson.
They really should, but you know, unfortunately, about 65% of your bill goes to your Board of Education too. Correct or incorrect?
And in Rumson, my mother.
I have no idea what your mother's bill looks like in Rumson. Right. How many kids in the private schools in Rumson?
Equivalent commercial properties, so you can't compare Rumson to any of them. Rumson's an outlier.
Okay, so where I grew up, it's not an outlier to me. It was the same tax basis. If we're looking at property taxes and compare it, it's a third of an acre, a third of an acre.
So, ma'am, thank you for your comments. Steve, just got to wrap it up. We'll be happy to stay afterwards if you need us to.
Thanks.
Thank you.
as mid-June. Has Middletown been advised of its affordable housing obligation?
Nelson, if you may.
Certainly. We had our first court, or actually our second court mediation session in June. We have another one scheduled for July 16th, in which we are trying to wean the numbers down. Our current obligation for our prospective need alone is 1,026 units. If we were subject to a builder's remedy lawsuit, you can times that by 4 for any inclusionary development for a 20% set aside, and that's the number that you would be looking at. This particular site has been in the township's third round affordable housing fund, which was part of the settlement in 2009. It remains in that plan. I can advise you that the Fair Share Housing Center has explicitly made it us aware that they are watching this carefully to make sure that the township follows through in that affordable housing component of the plan, which relies upon approximately 80 units, which would be rentals, which would allow for 160 credits, which are accounted for in that plan, which is all available on the website for the last decade plus, and that is indeed a subject of that ongoing process, which will be back in court on July 16th.
Is there ways to get double credits?
Yeah, for rental bonus credits, and that's what that's counting on.
And
That's
there's
in the
no
plan.
other sites in town that you...
No, there are multiple other sites. In Taylor's Lane, the Bay Shore Village, there's other scattered smaller sites throughout the town.
Okay, so when is this going to be decided on again?
I can't control the courts, but we're going to be in court again on July 16th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening?
Seeing none, entertain motion to close public session and adjourn.
Second.